Boise State at Idaho, Friday night ESPN2 action. Marco, what should bettors be looking at?
Well, RJ, this is a big spread on Friday night, 34.5 points. And I'm going to look at this game, and I know me and you will disagree probably with this, but I'm concerned about the Boise State motivation. They're undefeated, but we talk about goals, and the national championship is definitely what this team had their sights set on. I don't think they have any shot at the national championship because of the way TCU won last week. There's 3 teams in front of them. TCU's not going to lose a game the rest of their schedule. It'll take a miracle. And then you would have to have both Auburn and Oregon lose for them to get into consideration for the national championship.
All right, so I do disagree, and I disagree for a couple of reasons, actually. I could disagree 2 separate times and I think make my case. But I like what you're thinking here in that at least it's sophisticated. Because to me, if something's obvious, it's already built in the line. If Tom Brady's out, it's in the line. If Favre's out, etc. But the fact of the matter, Favre's never out. But we'll be talking about Favre. But the fact of the matter is, I disagree here, and there's a couple reasons. One, it wasn't just a couple years ago that West Virginia was a 28-point favorite. All they had to do was win the game to play in the national title, and this is the year High State and LSU played, and LSU had 2 losses.
It was against Pitt in the backyard brawl.
And 28 points. It's one thing to talk about interstate or rivalries and all that. 28 points. That happens, very less than 1% of the time. And lo and behold, West Virginia loses. I mean, Oregon's a good team. They're playing Arizona at this point. Auburn is likely going to be an underdog. Forgetting, is Cam Newton going to play or not? Or is he going to be suspended at any point? And then even if they win that, I mean, Georgia, even now with Newton, they're a 7-point favorite. I mean, right now, Auburn's chance of going undefeated is far less than 50% right now.
Auburn is the candidate of the team.
It's less. You want to bet? We'll bet $500 they don't go undefeated. Would you take that bet?
No, I wouldn't.
Because you think it's less than 50%.
But there's a flip side. There is a flip side to that. If the teams behind Boise that have the 1 loss win out, like LSU.
LSU is every BCS expert. Now you're getting out of your expertise, and I'm just quoting the guys that are the BCS experts. LSU can't even make the title game. They're not going to put a 1-loss LSU team that doesn't even make the SEC championship over Boise. If anything, there's a backlash right now that Boise's not going to get their chance. If somehow Auburn and Oregon, well, that'd be very interesting, and it'd be TCU Boise
for the 3rd year in a row in the bowl.
But it'd be for the national championship. But let's forget about what is the practical likelihood of either Oregon or Auburn losing, or both of them losing, as you said in that case. But let's talk about public perception, but not for betting, but in the bowls. Is last week, if I would have said if TCU wins out and Boise wins out, who's favored to be ahead of each other? What would you have said?
If TCU and Boise wins out, I still would at TCU.
Well, but Boise was ahead of them. I mean, the point I'm making is public perception. If you would have, there was more talk about TCU in the last 4 days than there's been about TCU the entire season because they've had a statement win. If Boise can beat Nevada in a similar way, I'm not saying necessarily that they're going to pass TCU. Vegas believes TCU is the better team. I'm not sure they're wrong, but I can't believe that Boise thinks that it's an impossibility. Not only can, like you said, 2 of those teams lose, or 2 of the 3 teams lose, though TCU's even less of a chance of losing. But hell, they're not even 28, I don't think, this week, the way West Virginia lost. So, I mean, San Diego State's like 7-2. So I don't think they're thinking our dream is dead. For 2 reasons. They might be able to leapfrog them. If anything, I think they're going to be maximally motivated.
Well, it's 2 ways to look at the game. But one thing that I will say to you, that when we talk as a handicapper, okay, let's say, which one of us is right or wrong. I can tell you this much. I'm going to get the value looking against Boise.
For sure. But there's got to be a reason.
There's going to be, the public perception is going to be Boise needs style points,
That's a good
and they're
point.
going to run it up. And Vegas knows that, so Vegas is going to put a tariff on, Boise the rest of the way.
I agree. The question is, a tariff or a premium assumes it's not warranted. Is it warranted though? Boise has better. I don't have their ATS right here, but they have a good ATS record this year.
They do. I don't have it in front of me either, but this team goes out and takes care of business.
I mean, I could have made the case. Like one of the things we're going to talk about later is Notre Dame is a team that I like to fade whenever I can. There's a premium on them, and you've had a great record in the Notre Dame games, and we'll get to that. But I can enter every Notre Dame game and say I either want to fade them or I want to pass the game. I very rarely want to look Notre Dame because the premium, there's no reason to have the premium. It's just they're alums and they're the old school lovers of Notre Dame. But with the Boise quote unquote premium, it's only a premium if it's not warranted. And my question is, with a team who is motivated for style points, they can score almost at will against some of these opponents, isn't it almost like a dream scenario? If I was playing a 4-foot 7th grader in basketball, and you said, okay, it's going to be a game to 30, and I'm going to spot, the spot. Maybe it should be 14, but I'm going to make it 18 because of the premium. People's going to see you're 5'10" or whatever. You're this tall. But the fact is, if I could choose to never let that kid score, I don't care if you make the line 29. I can cover it any time. Aren't they able to almost pick the score against some of these teams?
Some of these teams, they are. Two factors that I'll give you. One is for Boise, one's against them. Boise's playing an in-state rival, Idaho, so this absolutely.
They beat them 11 straight times.
They have, but this is.
You know what the average score? I bet you don't know that.
It's huge.
What is it?
I'm going to say they probably beat them by 40.
The average is 33 points over 11 wins. So this whole idea of this in-state rivalry, that seems to go out the window.
But, how many times will we make that a Friday night home game for them? So you got some elements there. But on the flip side to that, if there is a game for Boise, if they're going to go for style points, you want to go for style points on TV. So I will give you that.
You're starting to like Boise. I've never converted you. You want to change your projection?
No, my projection's right around the.
I'm going to give you one more.
Give me one more.
Last 6 road favorites are bad bets typically, right? I always see people say, "Oh, he's a square. He's playing road favorites." Of the last 16 times the Boise's been a road favorite, how many times have they covered?
I'm going to probably go 13.
I saw you hunched over my notes. 13-3. As a road favorite. I mean, this team thrives running up the score on the road against inferior opponents. I hate going against what seems to be, or going with a premium, but I'm not sure there is a premium, and maybe that's my side. We each had a subtle point here. Give us your projection.
I've got it 48-17 Boise. I'm not going to make an official pick. It's, we're a little bit under the number, but this is a game that I'm not going to have for my clients.
All right. Now it's your turn to continue the conversation in the comments section with Marco and me. And next up, this will be the last actual audio podcast, and you'll go to the next one, and we'll be talking about Saturday and Sunday and Monday football. And if you're watching on video, well, just go to the next video.